This is Jay Money with Falling Forward Financial. I come across an article here, 8 cheap stocks under $20 that could double. And this is just dated on February 11th here. Discounted doesn't necessarily mean doomed for disappointment. Some of these I've covered on the channel and some not, and I'll point those out as we go. If you had to ask me my opinions about where the market was heading following the initiate strike of the novel CV, the Rhinoceros Rex, I wouldn't have guessed what we're seeing now. Extreme bullishness has entered the collective sentiment, and it's kind of blown the doors off of some of my stocks. I'd never thought some of these would turn around and then some, but who's complaining? So, but is there any more room left for genuinely cheap stocks? You'd be surprised that the answer is yes, and I'm not talking about down in the gutter organizations that have a very limited shot of recovery. That's a different topic for another day. Not only do great deals exist with the strong upside potential, possibly 2x or more, and that's what we like to look for. There is much diversity to these offerings. Indeed, none of the 8 cheap stocks on this list hail from the same industry. Further, I'm not talking about forecasted price to sales cheap, or some other metric that people use to convince you that a $500 security is cheap. And so then I will let you pause and read the rest there for yourself. But to get into the article, the stocks are carparts.com, SSR Mining, Cloudera, SunOpta, Big 5 Sports, Cresco Labs, TEVA Pharmaceuticals. I do have this one. I've had it a couple years. Kind of in the red on that one. I'm kind of disappointed with it. And MindMed I just covered here on the channel last night, along with a couple psychedelics. So you got to get those in on the weekend, and you can take that for whatever it's worth. Give you something to think about there. But nevertheless, despite the potential, you want to be careful. The risk factor is certainly heightened for these companies. However, you should bear in mind that you're not going to grow your portfolio substantially without taking some risk. And definitely been doing that lately. I've been covering a lot of penny stocks, which have been fun. Some of them in the green, some of them slightly in the red, but they're going to come back up, so I have faith in them. You can check those out with... Just within the last 2 to 3 weeks, I've been covering tons of penny stocks. So, first is car parts, ticker PRTS, with so much emphasis on electric vehicle manufacturers. Investments related to automotive parts, such as carparts.com, may not be the sexiest choice. That said, PRTS stock is on fire, gaining over 52% year to date. So if you have that one, that would be interesting to know. If you have any of these that we're going over, put them in the comments and what your cost basis is and the share, how many shares you have, and that would be interesting to know. At the time of writing, shares are trading hands at $19.12, part of the upper range of cheap stocks under $20. And I'll let you go ahead and finish reading that. If you want to pause the video and read the rest there for yourself. Moving on, SSR Mining, SSRM. For those that prefer some contrarianism in their cheap stocks under $20, gold specialist SSR Mining might fit the bill. So for you gold people, or Austin Powers would say, gold members, this one might be of interest to you. Unlike the other ideas on the list, SSRM stock isn't off to the greatest start of the new year, down almost 20%, which sometimes provides a buying opportunity, which I don't give you tax, legal, or trading advice. You have to do your own due diligence, figure that out on your own. I'm just bringing some ideas here towards your way. However, I really believe, though, let me say I am biased in the underlying narrative for precious metals. And as everyone knows, we live in an ecosystem of artificially cheap money with benchmark interest rates at staggering lows. This means there's increasingly little point in holding on to cash. Naturally, this dynamic is inflationary for the value of gold. I haven't gotten into gold yet. I looked at it a couple times. I'll let you pause the article and read the rest there for yourself. Silver's been running up. I have not gotten into silver or gold, so if you're into either one of those, leave a comment or positive or negative about them, or whatever you want to leave. Is all good. It's all a learning experience. CLDR, I've heard about this one. CLDR, I have not purchased any of this one. What a difference a year can make. Back in January 2020, I stated CLDR was one of the cheap stocks to sell. Mainly, I felt that after the dramatic run in the second half of 2019, CLDR stock would be due for a correction. Technically, I was correct because CV19, the Rhinoceros Rex, bailed me out for looking stupid. Add one more disappointment to the pandemic. And it looks like this one's trading a little over $17 at the time of writing. And you can pause and read the rest there for yourself. Next is SunOpta STKL. This one kind of piqued my interest here. While cheap stocks have a reputation of having shoddy underlying businesses, that's absolutely not the case for SunOpta, specializing in development and manufacturing of plant-based foods and beverages. The stock should easily outperform thanks to the impact of the new normal. And everybody's trying to change their eating habits, and I've started covering kind of some of the more healthy choice videos. You can find those in my library also. In regards to farms, I've covered Village Family Farms. That's been kind of a good stock, kind of an interesting one. You see, whether we got the illness or not, we've all been affected by this pandemic. That's what separates this crisis from all others. And feel free to pause and read the rest of the article there for yourself. And just as it says there, and this usually means gorging on junk food. So a lot of people have been doing that through the pandemic. So don't ask me if I have, but chocolate's always good, no matter if you're in a pandemic or not. So Big Five sporting goods, so you can eat during the pandemic, and then you can go get your sporting gear on and run up the stock and lose some weight that way and stay in shape. So there you go. Bad joke for the night. Possibly one of the riskiest cheap stocks, and definitely among the most controversial. Big Five sporting goods had quite a time over the trailing year. In early 2020, the stock was trading at a low single-digit territory, completely out of favor with investors. So if you have any of this one, leave me a comment. That'd be interesting to know. Like I said, if you have any of these, it'd be interesting to know. Feel free to leave a comment in your cost basis. However, the very pandemic that caused shares to stumble so badly was the reason why today the stock can be had for a little over $15. Frankly, the momentum comes down to self-defense. And feel free to pause and read the rest there for yourself. This is probably my biggest interest on the list here, and as you follow my channel, you know I'm totally into this particular type of stocks. Like other in-favor cheap stocks tied into the MJ industry, Cresco Labs is bringing the heat on a year-to-date basis. The stock is up just a hair under 40%, but given its price tag of less than $15 at the time of writing, I'd say there is a solid chance that shares could double over the next 2 years. And that's kind of the same way that I feel with a lot of these particular MJ plays. A lot of them, some of mine have already doubled. I just covered a bunch of ETFs, MJ ETFs over the weekend in regards to the MJ run-up and then kind of crash on Tilray and some other MJ plays. So I thought a little bit safer play if you're looking to stay in the MJ and don't want so much volatility, the ETFs are a better route to go. I've covered pretty much all of them in my library. There's MJ, MSOS, THCX, couple other ones, CNBS. The other ones aren't coming to me. I think another one is POTX. So some of those are my favorite tickers if you figure out what I'm talking about. POTX. So first you have efforts by President Biden and the Democrat-controlled Congress to decriminalize MJ. Surprisingly, MJ may be the one thing that helps bridge the gap in our political divide. Over the years, Republicans have thawed their previous morality play against the much maligned plant, and after so much turmoil in Washington, I believe consensus on at least one issue would be very helpful for the overall governmental stability. And so it's going to become legalized here, I say, within the next 2 years or less. So, I mean, each year there's more states becoming legal, whether it be recreational or medicinally. Second, more importantly, MJ legislation and broader integration means jobs following the disappointing January jobs report where 6,000 private sector employment opportunities were created. Biden stated it will take 10 years before we get to full unemployment. And the next is TEVA. I bought this one. If you follow my channel, you know I'm in Omaha, Nebraska. Just up the street from Warren Buffett, and he was purchasing TEVA, and so therefore I did, but it's kind of been a crap stock. It's been a POS in my mind, so I've held it. It's in the red. I haven't sold it, but it's another cheap stock under $20. I think my cost basis on it is 18 or 22. I haven't checked it in a while. But I think it's on the road back up, but we will see. So relative to historical pricing, TEVA stock is technically a steal. Once a 60-plus security shares can now be had for a little over $12. So, yeah, I still in the red on that one. So, but anyway, feel free to pause the article and read the rest of that for yourself. MindMed, I just did a video on it yesterday, I believe, along with some psychedelics and numerous other MJ stocks as well as ETFs. So those are all interesting. I had a request to do MindMed, kind of put it off, didn't really know a lot about it. Heard it mentioned here and there, a lot on Reddit, a lot on StockTwits. Once I dived into it, it's kind of interesting, so go ahead and watch that video. But MindMed, a company specializing in psychedelic medicines. If you're not familiar with psychedelics, you might assume that this is a shady enterprise, and that's kind of what I thought. That's why I kind of drug my feet and didn't do it. But it's kind of interesting. I kind of like it now, and I'm going to be purchasing some shares on it tomorrow. Nothing could be further from the truth. The psychedelic-based medicines offer natural therapeutic potential without these addictive side effects of pharmaceutical drugs. MindMed stock has been rising because of the positive implications of CV-19 crisis. No, there's nothing good about the virus. However, there's now a huge need for organic solutions to address stress and other problems associated with pandemic. For instance, the Washington Post described wide-scale insomnia resultant from the disruption to our schedules as ruining our health. And there's a lot of people that kind of do that to themselves anyway. I'm kind of a night owl. I usually work from about 10 to 6, sometimes 7 during the day, sometimes till 10 at night, and then I come home and do some videos, and I might be here till 12 or sometimes 2 in the morning working on some stuff, so it just kind of depends. But you crash and burn on your days off, that's for sure. So the risk is that MindMed stock was trading at below 40 cents before its wild move up. Therefore, MindMed shares must establish strong support where they are. If they fail, it would be an ugly situation. That said, the fundamental narrative is incredibly tempting. So I'm tempted by it. Just like I said, go ahead and watch that video. They handle anything from stress, anxiety, depression. Those are all major concerns, major illnesses, if you will. And I mean, even outside of the pandemic, but it's increased throughout the pandemic, so everybody's staying home, nobody can see each other, family and so on, and so it all causes anxiety, stress, depression, the list just goes on. So that's the one thing I like about MindMed. So, and like I said, I'll probably be purchasing some shares on it tomorrow, and probably be making another video about it, because I'm really liking the company now that I did the video and got to diving into it. I wish I would have got into it earlier, but anyway, that is it for this list of the 8 cheap stocks under $20 that could double. Again, here's the list. If you have any of these, leave me a comment, and if you want any other videos done, leave a comment and I'll see what I can do. But out of this, I have TEVA, and I'm going to have MindMed tomorrow. So, but that's it. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, hit that, jump on it, and drop an elbow on it, as well as subscribing. And I'm trying to get up to 500 by the end of the month. I think I had about 25 subscribers just within the last 24 hours. So, again, this is J Money, Falling Forward Financial. Happy trading, happy investing, stay green. Cheers.